And this is all Blake. Like I said, Blake was involved in all aspects of this production, and she is also a marketing genius. Her and Ryan together are something else. But this was all Blake. She knew that the song would work, and she got Taylor to do it, and I was just nothing to do with it. I was just so grateful that Taylor agreed. And
Dream team. The soundtrack is amazing, like 10 out of 10. I've been listening.
In Hollywood, power isn't just about talent, it's about who can control the story. And according to newly surfaced court filings, Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and the powerhouse agency WME may be at the center of a behind-the-scenes media chess game.
Foremost, let's just get into how I found out about this subpoena, because I want you guys to really comprehend like fully how fake and gay everything in Hollywood is. And this is a perfect opportunity.
The documents suggest more than just PR spin. Whispers of bot networks, mass reporting of critical videos, and selective media coverage are now swirling. The timing couldn't be more suspicious. This all comes as lawsuits were flying, careers were wobbling, and the public's attention was locked on a high-profile dispute involving Blake's co-star, Justin Baldoni. The allegations: that WME, with its vast network of connections, was determined to keep Blake and Ryan's public image spotless, even if it meant manipulating coverage. And when you control Hollywood's gatekeepers, you control the narrative.
But Jed Wallace and Street Relations, they were the ones who sort of were accused of doing the dirty deeds of the retaliation campaign, the untraceable acts across Reddit and so on. He denies this. He says none of that happened. We'll go through what he says in a second. But Blake was accusing him of being hired by Tag PR, etc., to do a lot of the dirty retaliation tactics that she's saying was all their fault and nothing was her fault.
But the real bombshell came when private communications surfaced, revealing internal conversations about deleted websites, altered articles, and even a mysteriously vanished podcast interview that could have changed everything. These messages weren't just gossip, they were filed in court, under oath. And if true, they paint a picture of a world where celebrity reputations aren't just managed, they're engineered. WME isn't just another talent agency, it's one of the most powerful forces in the entertainment industry. They represent Hollywood's biggest names and, according to industry insiders, have the influence to make or break careers. For Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, both top-tier clients, WME's interest in protecting their public image is more than loyalty, it's business. The more marketable the stars, the more valuable the contracts, endorsements, and global campaigns.
So I asked him, is this normal behavior in Hollywood? And you would be surprised.
What I can say without going too into it is that this year has been full of the highest highs and the lowest lows of my life. And I see so many women around afraid to speak, especially right now, afraid to share their experiences. And fear is by design, it's violence. But I also acknowledge that many people don't have the opportunity to speak. So I do feel fortunate. And it's the women who have had the ability to use their voice that's kept me strong and helped me in my belief and my fight for the world to be safer for women and girls.
But the whispers go deeper. Sources allege WME has been accused of using automated bot accounts to inflate follower counts, giving their stars a bigger social media footprint. In an age where casting decisions can hinge on Instagram numbers, that's a powerful edge. More disturbingly, there are claims those same networks are used for the opposite purpose: mass flagging and reporting unflattering content to get it removed. Critics say this isn't just PR strategy, it's digital warfare. And if you're on the wrong side, you risk being blacklisted.
I can't say I think the judge is biased? That's ridiculous. No, but seriously, why should a pro se movement not be allowed to tell the judge he or she thinks they're biased? That's BS.
That's why the latest court filings from industry insider Jed Wallace are making waves. His evidence doesn't just name names, it hints at a coordinated effort to shape the internet's perception of Hollywood royalty. And it's only the beginning. The game shifted when Jed Wallace filed an omnibus motion, attaching a trove of private messages and documents tied to Blake's legal maneuvers. Buried inside, a detailed group text thread from late January into February, the exact period when lawsuits were first being filed. Justin Baldoni's career was spiraling, and allegations of a coordinated smear campaign were spreading online. The thread wasn't just idle chatter. It revealed discussions about a website project, one meant to showcase evidence against certain parties. When the site abruptly disappeared, questions exploded. Some suggested it was for security reasons, while others hinted the real motivation was to halt a damaging information dump. At the heart of these messages were recognizable names, attorneys, PR figures, and media contacts, all strategizing about Google Docs, timelines, and how best to present the narrative. The casual tone made it clear these weren't random conversations, this was a coordinated effort. For Blake's critics, the leak was gold. For her supporters, it was a strategic move to keep sensitive material out of the wrong hands. But either way, one thing was certain. Whatever was on that website, someone didn't want it seeing the light of day. The leaked texts also revealed another layer of strategy: digital surveillance. Members of the group were actively monitoring social media, tracking videos, posts, and comments that mentioned Blake, Ryan, or the legal drama. One shared clip featured influencer Zach Peter debunking HR complaints. Another came from citizen journalists dissecting the case in real time. Jed Wallace seemed to relish forwarding these updates, praising excellent sleuthing and noting which posts belonged in the report. But one comment stood out: his claim that mass bot reporting was being used to take down videos critical of Blake's side. That's where the story takes a darker turn. If true, it means negative coverage wasn't just being countered, it was being erased. And this wasn't limited to random online creators. The Hollywood Reporter, one of the industry's most respected outlets, suddenly became a recurring topic in the chats. Certain articles were updated, reworded, or glitched, removing passages that painted Blake or WME in a negative light. To the untrained eye, it could look like normal editing, but to those in the know, it raised red flags. Who was calling the shots behind these changes? And why did the timing always seem to favor one side? The Hollywood Reporter became an unexpected character in this unfolding drama. Leaked messages showed insiders dissecting an article that, in its first version, was critical of Blake's stance. Then, without warning, it was updated. Key phrases softened and context added that shifted the tone in her favor. The official explanation? A technical glitch had reverted part of the story to an older draft, but that didn't convince everyone. In the group chat, even seasoned legal minds called the changes legal but not ethical. The fact that no footnotes or transparency accompanied the edits only fueled suspicion. Some argued it was better to let fans call out the inconsistencies than to start a public feud with the outlet. Others pointed to the bigger picture. The Hollywood Reporter's parent company, Penske Media, has strong ties across the industry. Ties that, if leveraged, could easily influence coverage. The edits weren't just about one story. They symbolized how narratives can be rewritten midstream, leaving the public none the wiser. And just when it seemed the controversy might fade, another twist pulled the spotlight back. A bombshell podcast interview that suddenly disappeared from existence. The missing podcast quickly became the stuff of Hollywood whispers. According to leaked audio, Ari Emanuel, one of the most powerful figures in the industry, openly admitted firing Justin Baldoni after Blake and Ryan claimed he was a predator. He allegedly declared himself ride or die for the couple. But before the interview could gain traction, the entire podcast episode vanished. Articles covering the comments were scrubbed from major outlets, including The Hollywood Reporter. In the group messages, Justin himself called it rewriting history in real time. It wasn't just about what Ari said, it was about the speed and precision of the cleanup. Within hours, the trail was cold. No links, no re-uploads, no official statement from Ari. For critics, this was confirmation of WME's immense reach. If a public interview could be erased so thoroughly, what else had been quietly buried? Supporters countered that removing unverified or damaging claims was standard practice. But for many, the timing was too perfect, the silence too calculated. And if Ari Emanuel was willing to go this far to protect his clients, what did that mean for the truth? And for anyone standing in his way? Penske Media's reach is staggering. Variety, Rolling Stone, Billboard, Deadline Hollywood, Women's Wear Daily, the list goes on. If you control these outlets, you control much of the public conversation around entertainment. And Ari Emanuel, critics allege, knows exactly how to use that leverage. The claim isn't that WME owns these publications outright, but that relationships and access are the currency. If an outlet wants continued interviews with A-listers like Blake and Ryan, they have every incentive to keep coverage friendly. Step out of line, and suddenly the red carpets and exclusives dry up. The leaked messages hinted at exactly this kind of unspoken pressure. References to getting into it with journalists were tempered by the understanding that sometimes silence and fan outrage worked better than confrontation. Add in the accusation of bot networks to drown out criticism, and the picture becomes even clearer. This wasn't just reputation management, it was narrative control on a corporate scale. But even the most sophisticated influence machine can't operate without leaving fingerprints. And the deeper you dig into the documents, the more those fingerprints start to emerge. At its core, this isn't just a story about one celebrity couple or one agency. It's about the intersection of celebrity power, corporate influence, and media integrity. The allegations of blacklisting, bot attacks, and content suppression paint a troubling picture of an industry where the truth is negotiable. Then there's the international angle. Penske Media once had ties to the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, the same fund linked to a controversial $400 million deal involving Ari Emanuel's agency. Those ties were reportedly severed after a global scandal in 2018, but the connection lingers in industry memory. When you combine that level of global money with Hollywood's star power, you get an influence network that spans continents. And when that network is allegedly used to shape news coverage, suppress damaging stories, and amplify flattering ones, it raises questions far beyond any single lawsuit. For Blake's critics, the leaked texts and filings confirm years of suspicion. For her defenders, they're cherry-picked fragments taken out of context. But in the court of public opinion, perception is reality. And right now, that perception is shifting. The leaks have done more than stir online debate. They've created a visible divide in Hollywood. On one side, those who see this as a dangerous precedent for unchecked media control. On the other, those who argue it's simply the brutal reality of protecting a brand in the digital age. Social media has become a battleground. Hashtags accusing WME of narrative engineering trend alongside posts praising Blake and Ryan for their media savvy. Independent journalists dig through court filings looking for more unsealed documents. Even rival publicists are reportedly watching closely, wondering if this could reshape how crisis management is done in Hollywood. Meanwhile, Blake remains publicly silent, letting the legal filings speak for her. Ryan continues with his projects, projecting charm and normalcy. But silence doesn't erase speculation, it amplifies it. The real question is how far-reaching the damage could be if more evidence surfaces. Because once the public suspects the game is rigged, every glowing headline starts to look like a setup. And in the era of viral outrage, that suspicion spreads fast. Even with hundreds of pages of court filings and leaked messages, the full truth remains locked away. Many documents are still sealed, and multiple names in the messages are redacted. What's hidden in those blacked-out lines? More direct instructions? Financial records? Proof of coordinated takedowns? If the unsealed material is this explosive, the sealed content could be even more damaging. That's what keeps industry insiders on edge, the possibility that this is just the tip of the iceberg. For now, the public is left piecing together fragments. A vanished podcast, suspicious article edits, bot accusations, and a talent agency accused of playing puppet master. The story has all the ingredients of a Hollywood thriller: power, loyalty, betrayal, and a battle for control over the narrative itself. One thing is certain: in a business built on image, whoever controls the story controls the game. And if these allegations are true, then the game isn't just being played, it's being rigged. The next court date could be the turning point. Until then, the questions hang in the air, unanswered and electrified. And in Hollywood, nothing fuels gossip quite like a mystery that refuses to die.